Yo, what up, what up, what up? Back at it again, Real Fans Podcast. It's your boy Gabe. I'm here hosting the show. I'm here with my friend Julian right here. Say what's up to the people, Julian.
What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people?
Hey, man, we're just going to have a summer conversation. We're going to have a free-flowing conversation about the Olympics. It's literally, as we're recording this, the closing ceremonies are going on right now. So no more medals are to be won. So this is going to be kind of a Olympic-heavy top show. We're going to have just kind of free-flowing conversation about what was going on in the Olympics. And then we'll end it with the NFL preseason that's coming up. So we're kind of revving up for the NFL season. But let's talk about the Olympics, Julian. I mean, are you feeling patriotic right now? Are you feeling proud to be an American right now? Because
first off, it's episode 111, which I think is kind of crazy. Just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, man, I mean, once again, we are leading the world in gold medals, probably because we farm them in like stupid competitions that we just get easy golds for. But hey, nonetheless, we still got the most. It don't matter because, like, I was thinking about that the other day. And I was reading something how like back in like the Cold War, they were just pumping medals out there just so we can look better. And I'm wondering if that's like still kind of the case. Like, how many medals are given out for like fucking swimming and gymnastics? Yeah. Like I feel like there's 20 for just gymnastics and for like swimming. Like there's a shit ton, probably more than that, honestly.
Yeah, like actual physical medal, because obviously the team's medal, if you have team sports, but obviously individual, like you have volleyball, I don't know how many people, like was it like 8 people on the volleyball court? There's like, how many people on a swim relay, how many relays?
But I mean like the actual events though, because there's like, if you're a swimmer, like look at Michael Phelps, he had like 15 gold medals or something, and I don't even know what the number was, but it's like, because you got a gold medal for the breaststroke, gold medal for the standard stroke, gold medal for the backstroke. It's like, all right, let's just start racking these bitches up. Yeah. Let's just start adding things in there. But it's kind of funny because then you think about it, because like you have this long drawn out thing. We're talking about basketball in a second, but it's like, they grinded for, I don't know, weeks. But then you got like, I don't know, another sport where it's like you're about to get like 10, like just like that. Or like even like wrestling where you have like different types. But yeah. Yeah, man. And then yeah, it was pretty exciting. There was a lot of new events. I was really there's just a lot of things that I thought was really interesting. It was kind of nice to actually have the Olympics in our time zone, or not in our time zone, but in a more time-friendly time zone. Yeah. Because before we had Tokyo, and then before that we had Russia, which was also just like a weird time zone. And then really since what 2014, when we had. No, not 2014. Yeah. No, 2012.
Yeah. 08, 12 of Beijing.
When was Brazil?
I think that might have been 16.
2016. Yeah, 2016. Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. Why did I think Russia? I'm getting Russia mixed up with
like
fucking
Helsinki
World
or
Cup.
Something? Okay, that's what
I'm getting it with the World Cup. I got to mix up with the World Cup. But yeah, so 2016 was the first time like I could genuinely watch things live. So it was kind of nice to actually be able to do that. But yeah, man, what do you want to start off first? What caught you?
I mean, I want to talk about just kind of in general from the beginning, talk about the opening ceremonies. I think that's like one of my favorite parts. If we can talk about like maybe what sports we've been catching. I don't know if you had the Peacock app. I had the app on my phone. So sometimes when I would miss, I would just jump on the Peacock app. Either they would be replaying it or I can just jump into whatever I missed. I want to talk about like memeable moments. I want to talk about like memorable champions, maybe new names that came to you in watching it. So let's start on the beginning. Let's talk about the open ceremonies. I don't know if you were able to catch it, or how do you feel about in general, like the whole pomp and circumstance of having, just the flow of it, how Paris was set up this year.
I mean, I haven't heard any major complaints. I mean, there's always the issues of like the conditions of the Olympic Village and whatnot. Yeah. But I didn't hear anything crazy. I know some people were like saying stuff like, "Oh my God, these are the showers in the Olympic Village," but it was just the shower for like the fucking diving pool. Yeah. Or something like that.
people on Twitter who don't know shit are just talking.
Yeah. But it seems nothing. I know the big thing. Maybe we could start off with this, was leading up to the Paris Olympics. The mayor of Paris said for the longest time, we want swimmers to be able to swim in that river.
Yeah.
What is it? The Seine River?
The Seine River, yeah.
The Seine River. And he's like, we're going to clean it up. We're going to clean it. And Gabe, I don't know if you've ever been to, I don't know if you've ever been to Paris. I've actually ridden a boat on that river before. And yeah, I mean, it's a fucking city river. It's disgusting. And not only just any city river, it's a city river of like fucking one of the oldest cities still standing today, and like one of the most populated cities in the world. So they tried, and those swimmers, I saw them fucking jump in that bitch, and the mayor jumped in the day before. They had to wait, like what? They had to delay it like an extra day or two.
Yeah, they delayed some events because they were testing. Yeah.
And then they did it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't a lot of those swimmers still get some shit?
A couple people got sick. A couple people were sent to the hospital. One with like E. coli poisoning or something. There was a couple people that got sick in the Seine River. Yeah, that was pretty.
Did you
crazy.
hear about that? There was a guy who created an app where it basically did all the maths and the math and the flow of like the rivers and whatnot, to where like you can poop in a specific part of the river to where it matched up. I was like, I wonder if anybody actually did that. I bet you there was some dirty motherfucker that did that.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of protests associated with it. People were talking about the Seine River. They spent, I don't know, 1.2 billion. I don't know the crazy amount. I can look that up. But they spent a crazy amount for years saying they're going to clean up the river, clean up the river, clean the river. And lo and behold, come opening day, it's still, full of bacteria and stuff. And there's a lot of protests too with like the workers. There was like the dancers were going to protest, the food people, the caterers were going to protest, the security people. There's a lot of associated with it. But
the French love protesting, dude. They
got it done.
They love protesting.
I don't know what those people did, but they got it done. I mean, the eyes were on Paris, and everything flowed smoothly. I like the opening ceremonies. I like to watch it just because I like to see the uniqueness, not because it's anything spectacular. I like the show. The show of it, we can talk about the performances. Oh my God, we can talk about Celine Dion performance coming out there singing her ass off. But I generally like to watch it just to see kind of like, I like to see the outfits, to see kind of what, people put together. I know Team USA was sponsored by like Ralph Lauren for like another year. I think it's like another consecutive year that Ralph Lauren sponsored us. So they had kind of, suits. They had you have LeBron James and Coco Gauff, which was dope as fuck, as the flag bearers wearing the white jackets. So I like to like look at the countries like, oh, look at them. They're wearing like, I like to watch it just to see like how unique they can be like with a uniform. Sometimes it's bland, you get the cool. I like the islands, the Pacific Islanders, because they always have cool like designs, flows on their shirts, like I kind of watch, I like the people watch for that. And on top of the, the show of France showing out, I don't know if you remember, they had like a whole like Assassin's Creed kind of theme. They had a guy with a flame, to represent France's history. He's running through buildings on top of the roof, going, carrying the flame.
I missed the whole opening ceremony.
Oh, dude.
I missed it.
It was Assassin's Creed. If you know Assassin's Creed, that was pretty much a whole big part of the show. I know there was a big controversy. People having, they had kind of like a walkway fashion show that people had a problem with. I thought it was pretty dope that, the city can show off.
I saw the memes of the men dressed up as women, and people thought it was like the Last Supper or something like that.
And it was really to represent. It
wasn't the Last Supper, but it was like something else.
Yeah, it's to represent the Greek god Dionysus. So people, Americans getting upset about France. But I think it's kind of dope that they can show out and show like they were showing their music, their artists. You know what I mean? I thought it was kind of dope. They had a fashion show. Like I said, they're showing scenes from the city, all the major landmarks. And on top of that, like I said, you get to see countries show out and like represent. You see all the young faces, all the pretty people wearing beautiful, outfits and stuff. So I like the spectacle of it. On top of, the music, the whole performative. I think this year, I honestly, heading into this year's Olympics, I really wasn't too hyped. Like, I knew it was coming. I was like, okay, maybe I'll watch it if I get to it. But once I started watching it, like, I was kind of like always checking in, If I didn't watch it live, I would check in on the app and kind of follow along. I would just jump in on the sport. So, we could talk about if you had the app, they had the Gold Zone, though. They had Andrew Siciliano and what's his name? The other guy who'd usually do the red zone. I think Siciliano got kicked out of red zone.
So I saw
Scott Hansen.
They had it I saw they had it on Peacock, but I just went to the sport that I cared to watch the most or that I found the most interesting. I didn't do anything because I'm gonna be honest with you, like I do not want to watch I could care less about watching gymnastics. Like that's just me personally, and that felt like that was on like every day. So I usually just went because I want to see something like really like odd and unique. And this one I was watching yesterday, fucking breakdancing was added to the Olympics this year.
Yeah.
And homeboy Phil Wizard from Canada was he won that shit. It was clean. It was pretty cool to see. I thought it was really random. I did not see it. USA got bronze. The guy who represented USA got bronze in that. I was like, damn, man, you couldn't bring it back home. It's like we're the inventors of fucking breaking. But
no, man, Japan was heavy favorites in that one. Heavy favorites. All the Asian countries.
Bro, they love breakdancing. Bro, when I was in high school, like all the Asian, we had like a little courtyard, and in the middle was like this big square concrete with benches around. And every morning, dude, 7 a.m, like all the Asian kids were out there breakdancing. Like they brought like a cardboard box, flattened it out, and they're legit like every morning. And I'm like, damn, dude, like it's like fucking like 7 a.m. Like, it's like you don't want to be sweaty before school. But yeah, man, it was that was pretty interesting. So I was really looking for the most like oddball thing. You know what I didn't get a chance to watch and I did want to watch was field hockey. Because I was like, I was just curious about it. I just like, I want to see this. I just want to see this because I don't know if you knew this, but do you know hockey is the fourth most popular sport in the world?
Nah, I would have guessed like cricket, soccer, maybe basketball because it's international. But
nah, so it's soccer, cricket, tennis, and then hockey.
Tennis makes sense.
But I didn't realize too. Only in America do we say hockey and refer to ice hockey. Yeah. Everybody else, I guess, when you say hockey, they're talking about field hockey, and then like ice hockey is ice hockey. Yeah. Which I didn't know that for the longest time. And apparently, but like it's one of those where it's like it's just popular in India, so it's like automatically like one of the most popular sports in the world.
I mean, they have a huge population.
You eliminate like say if India didn't like cricket probably wouldn't be that big of a sport. Then I mean, it would be bigger, but it wouldn't be like the second most popular. It's just that country just is super big into it. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what other else. I don't know. Give me a sport that you are really invested in.
So I like the big ones. I do like gymnastics. Like I said, I would just tune in to Gold Zone. It was Scott Hansen and Andrew Siciliano. Sometimes they'd be on together. I think they filmed out of Connecticut. They weren't actually in Paris, but I thought it was dope that they would have them in there doing the live. So I would just go to Gold Zone because you have 4 screens and then you can click in. You can pick on whatever screen. So, dude, I like the big ones. I guess the oddest one I could see was like the shooting one. Was it not archery? It's the
like the shooting.
The pistol, air rifle. Shooting. I think it's called air rifle or something like that.
With all the memes, like all those guys, like they're a character in like Apex Legends or something.
Yeah. Speaking of memeable moments, you want to talk about breakdancing? There's memeable moments in the breaking. There's definitely some memeable moments. I think that's like the most oddest one. But usually I would jump in. This year I didn't catch a lot of swimming. Swimming, I kind of skipped over. I missed a lot of this stuff. Missed a lot of the heats. But I would just kind of jump into whatever. I was watching, volleyball. I missed the big 3. I didn't watch any of the big 3. I know they were playing. Like I know some of the stories. Like Jim, what was his name? Jim Fredette was playing, but I missed 3-on-3. But I did want to catch like yesterday. I did want to catch the breaking because I was like, this is unique. I don't think they're gonna have that next year. This is kind of like a novelty just for this year. Maybe they bring it after LA, but the LA 2028 will not have breaking. So I just want to see like what it was about. Did you also catch any of the surfing? Because I know they had it in Tahiti, which I thought was kind of weird and unique. Like the surfing competitions were in Tahiti.
So I think because I don't know if you know this, but Tahiti is a part of French Polynesia, which is a French.
I did not know that.
It's a French colony.
Okay.
Yeah, Tahiti. They actually speak French in Tahiti.
Okay, makes more sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I saw. Yeah, I was going. They were originally, which I did think was random. Like I mean, not that it was random. I think it's cool that they try to introduce like their colonies as well. It's like if we had like something in Puerto Rico as well.
Yeah, or
yeah.
Guam or something.
Because like I thought originally they were going to do it in France because the WSL, which is the World Surfing League, they have a tournament in France, like off the beach of Normandy. Not Normandy. It's somewhere south, kind of where France meets Spain on the Atlantic. It's a big surf destination over there. Like it's like California, France. So I thought they were going to do it there. But yeah, they did over there. Yeah, I watched some of it. My other country that I support, Costa Rica, the female surfer, she made it to the semifinals. She got knocked out. A lot of people in Costa Rica were a little upset because they thought that she got kind of robbed on one of the waves because she called the wave, but the other girl didn't give it to her, and then she eventually got knocked out in the semifinals. Quite honestly, I don't know if she ended up getting bronze. She was in the bronze medal match, but I know a lot of people were rooting for her. She was like, at least in Costa Rica, because I follow a lot of like Costa Rica ESPN and all that stuff, and the whole country was kind of rallying behind her because I think she was pretty much the best chance of us getting like a gold in like, let's say, a major sport, not like fucking power walking or whatever. Like,
yeah. That one I missed. I think I saw a story about it, but that one I was not tuning in for that one.
I actually want to see how she did. But I did start off the Olympics watching soccer. Obviously, that was the main one, the big one I was watching. I was really curious to see how everything played out. There was a lot of interesting call-ups. And for those of you who don't know, the men's soccer is U23, and then you can bring 3 overage players. So I was rooting for the USA. They kind of brought pretty mediocre over 23 players. France was by far the best team on paper. But, yeah, ultimately Spain ended up winning gold. And, yeah, it was pretty cool. Egypt went on a crazy dark horse run. And in our predictions, all the people, because Morocco and Egypt made it to the semi, so both Moroccans and Egyptians were just talking shit on those videos. And if you're watching this now, look, man, I said you guys were dark horses. I still didn't think you were favorites. Like, at the end of the day, the favorites were Argentina, Spain, and France. That's just what it was. I had Morocco up there with USA as like, but I thought Morocco was a little better than USA. Egypt, let's be real, bro. Like, no one thought Egypt was going to make it to semifinals. They just had a pretty good path. And even so, they got an upset against Paraguay. So, because Paraguay brought a pretty solid team and got a couple good overage players. But yeah, I was watching some of that. USA Women's, they got gold.
Yeah, I watched that game
once again. So, yeah, man, it was. I was watching some of that. Let me try to think what else. I'll bounce it back over to you while I think of what else I was into. Because
it's so much. Because you got to think, man, this thing is 2 weeks. So like we're compacting all these sports in 2 weeks. I did catch track. I was able to watch some of the races on track. I did watch, as far as champions runs, I was able to watch basketball. I was able to watch women's soccer. I did watch the men's soccer, but it feels like months ago that happened, because I feel like that was so early on. Obviously, Spain being heavy favorites and them eventually winning.
So our girl in Costa Rica, she got 4th place. She didn't get the bronze, sadly.
I saw this morning, I was able to wake up and watch the tail end of the women's basketball, which was insane. Literally won by a foot. The game, France was down 3. They were able to juke the ball all the way down. The lady was able to shoot a running shot, get it up, but her foot was inside the 2. She needed 3 to tie it, but she got the 2, and then they lost by literally 1 point. So I saw that this morning. That was literally just happened. That we were kind of waiting for that to end so we could start.
This is the 3-on-3?
Oh no, the women's 5-on-5.
Oh, okay, 5.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of the 3-on-3. I can't even tell you who won. I think the USA might have bronzed. They did. I know the USA didn't win the 3-on-3. I can't even tell you.
Yeah, because I was curious what that looked like. Like, was it like half
Yeah,
court?
it's like Big Three. So there was an announcement, a Big Three, obviously a league going on. That's kind of not a rival league. I think it's like a kind of a supplemental league that's going on in the off season of the
Slam
NBA.
ball.
They announced, Ice Cube came out and said, "Hey, whoever the Olympic champions, we challenge you to a 3-on-3 against the Big Three, the Big Three league that they have for I think it's like $150,000 was the prize money, just to kind of guess Ice Cube would bring awareness to his league." So I heard about that. Like I just didn't watch any of the games, so I can't even tell you who medaled. I'd have to look that up. But yeah, man, I love track. I love the big sports, gymnastics, track, swimming if I can catch it. I love the sprints, the short races. I don't really like the long ones because they usually take like 3-4 minutes. It's tough to watch those heats, but the finals I will watch. I think Ledecky is supposed to close out. She's supposed to be the flag bearer for the end. I can't remember who else for the U.S. I have to look that up. She's fucking dominating. One of the greatest swimmers ever. One of the greatest Olympians. Simone Biles, one of the greatest ever. She's the GOAT. I don't know if there's any new athletes that kind of caught your eye, or maybe something that surprised you, and that you were able to watch. Maybe a non-favorite, like you said, a dark horse, or a team you didn't know about.
The thing is like when it comes to like those individual sports, I wasn't watching it. I really like the team sports.
Yeah,
I think that's just like I liked watching the team sports. I was watching some ping pong yesterday.
Table tennis, yeah.
Women's table tennis, dude. It was Japan versus China in the final. It was fucking insane. Like it was, and like even seeing the fans just going nuts. I was like, it's so funny. Like ping pong is just like how crazy intense it can be. And I also didn't know you could do doubles with that. Which
they do doubles. Yeah,
I guess when you're playing like that wide and that deep, you kind of have the space for it. So I was watching that. Watched some wrestling. I always like watching Olympic wrestling because I wrestled in high school and stuff. So it's pretty cool to see how different Olympic wrestling is to what we wrestle here in the United States. But as for a star that really stuck out to me, I don't know. I wouldn't know, like, other than like the big names that you wouldn't. Honestly, I don't know anybody in swimming. Like I said, I heard about was Simone Biles with the amount of gold she got and like the oldest athlete.
Yeah, this was her comeback tour, man. She was coming back from her her mental struggles, coming back and able to perform. She was so powerful, dude. She was so powerful.
And then Noah Lyles, he got gold in one event, didn't he?
That was the biggest controversy for basketball. He was able to win the 100 sprint, which is not his main event, not his best event. He was barely, everybody thought that Jamaica won, but he barely won by the tip of the nipple on his chest. He won. But then I think he bronzed on the 200, and then he wasn't able to make the relay because of COVID tests. But then turns out that I think yesterday he tweeted out that thank God he doesn't have COVID anymore. So, and that was a big story for basketball fans. NBA Twitter.
I did want to throw out too that go back to men's soccer, U.S. men's soccer. I thought they didn't have a terrible Olympics. I thought they had a pretty solid one, considering the roster that they brought. I thought they kind of brought a little bit of a weaker roster. Like I said, I thought our over 23s could have been better. Yeah. Then they held well against France. France was supposed to be the favorite leading into that tournament. And the score line, they lost 3-0, but that game was closer than it actually was. But
to me, the men's soccer, dude, the only person I can name is Pulisic. I can't even tell you anybody else. I know Chichi sometimes switches over, plays for America, but I literally cannot tell you anybody on that team because I absolutely do not care. Like I believe more in the women's team, so I was glad to watch them. I really want to watch them because there's some questions about the women's team excelling because now it's kind of the change in the guard, but the men's I have absolutely no care for. Like
I think the women's,
when y'all win something, let me know, and I'll start tuning in.
They won gold, and they're still one of the best teams in the world. But that Spain women's team is really good. Like they're really fucking good. So man, let me think of another one that was.
So you're high on men's soccer.
Pretty cool. I thought they played well. I thought they played decent. I thought they could have brought a stronger team. But the problem with men's soccer, it's really tough in Olympics because it's not a FIFA sanctioned window, so players don't have to go.
Yeah.
Versus like if it was a FIFA sanctioned window, then players have to go. For like women's, I don't know if they don't have to go, but it's a bigger deal. Versus like men's Olympic soccer, not that it's treated more as like a young, like a U23 tournament, like a younger guys tournament, not so much like a flagship tournament or whatever. But I mean, overall though, I thought, like I said, it was pretty cool to have it in Paris. I'm excited to see what it is in LA. I would like to go to the Olympics one day. I think it'd be pretty cool to see and just bounce around to different events and see what's going on. Next time I go to Paris, I would like to see the Olympic Village and kind of see how everything was.
Can normal people get in there? The Olympic Village? They can just...
Well, like once it's over, yeah, you can go. I went to the Olympic Village in Atlanta and in Montreal.
Okay.
Montreal one was really just a sign because it was so long ago, and they kind of just turned it into like a regular park. But I saw the Atlanta one. Yeah. So let's switch over to men's basketball. I mean, that was the big one, I think, for all of us going into it. So we could kind of hyper focus on that, unless there's another sport or another thing that you wanted to bring up in terms of these other events.
We could talk about it because I feel like, they met the hype. I think there's a lot of expectation with the men's basketball team coming in. Obviously, LeBron James, possibly his last Olympics. Everybody's thinking, I don't know if he has 4 more years left in basketball, but...
Dude, real quick on LeBron.
What's up?
Oh, my... I probably didn't watch any Lakers basketball this past year because they sucked, and I'm not going to watch a team that sucks.
Wow, slander. You're going to get comments. Somebody's typing right now.
Well, yeah, but bro, I had no idea how fucking old LeBron looks. My God,
he's an old man, dude.
So old. Like his beard's gray. Bro, you just need to go bald. He just needs to go bald.
40.
The thing is it's so low. But yeah, because I just didn't really watch a lot of Lakers this past year, probably if any. And so I didn't realize. And then I was like watching, I was like, damn, bro, it's so old. But yeah, let's start from the group stage and stuff. So yeah, I mean, you had Serbia. Felt like they played Serbia like so many fucking times, and then they had South Sudan, and Puerto Rico. And am I missing another one that they played against?
I'm looking it up right now. I think those were the main teams that I remember from the qualifying. Let me look it up. Let me look up the actual schedule of the order. I'm kind of filling for time. Let me just type in some things. So they had the showcase. They had Canada, Australia, Serbia, South Sudan, Germany. And then in Paris, they actually started playing July 28th. They played Serbia, South Sudan, Puerto Rico, Brazil, Serbia. Those were...
okay, cool, yeah.
And then they ended up playing France. So they played about 6 games, 2, 4, 6 games. In the
Brazil was what I was missing, yeah. So I just want to say this to start off. That... just as a whole, not even just specifically USA, but like as a whole, it was really awesome to watch basketball, international basketball again. Like played at a high level, played very, very seriously. It was honestly some of the most enjoyment I've had watching basketball in a long time. One, I just think, dude, the FIBA rules are just so much better. They're just so much better. The game was played way more physical. It was played way more defensively for sure. And just seeing like the way the game is played under FIBA rules just looks like a better game. Honestly, it's
quicker.
It seems like a more balanced game, and it's quicker.
The shot clocks are shorter, so
yeah, like actually doing 10 minutes just makes more sense. Like it just feels faster. Like I feel like the points mean more. Like going on like short runs, like getting a 7-0 run was huge, especially like late into the tournament, which like in the NBA, that kind of happens a lot. NBA, a lot of it just goes in runs for the most part. So it was really cool to watch. It was really exciting. And also to like, man, the quality of basketball internationally has risen so high.
Yep.
Like not even just the guys that play in the NBA, because everybody wants to say, oh, how many NBA players do they have? How many NBA players do they have? Take aside the NBA, if they play in the NBA or not. these guys that are playing in Europe or in South America, they're just better now. Like these leagues, the quality. I mean, we'll get to it later, but like look at the guy who posterized LeBron. Well, I can't remember his name. The guy with the afro.
Lesort. I think his last name was Lesort.
No, it was the other guy. But he plays I believe he plays for Real Madrid. And bro, that guy, he was balling out, and he had a really good turn. He was getting MVP chance every time he went to the free throw line. And it's just like players like that, and just other players, just like even Serbia. I mean, the quality that Serbia went down the stretch in that the semifinal game when they were up by like, what was it, at one point 16 points or something like that against the USA with a team that didn't have a ton of NBA players. Like obviously you have probably the best basketball player in the world in Jokic. But outside of that, a lot of those guys didn't play in the NBA. So it was really cool to see. And it just felt like it mattered to everybody, even in the USA. It felt like we were playing it seriously. It felt like there's actual competition. Like these games were actually like meaningful, and it meant something. And USA always were going to be the favorites. It's too deep of a team, but it's really nice to see that these teams without these big names were still able to compete. So as for the group stage, I will say for the USA, they didn't really have anything.
I was scared that first Serbia game, they opened up sloppy. I think they ended up winning by like 20 or something. Like they got up on a high run. But if you watch the beginning of the game, some of the passing was very lazy. It was very sloppy. Throughout the tournament, I noticed that too. That was probably my biggest critique. Is like some of the passing is like just terrible. Like they're passing it where nobody is, or somebody's supposed to go, but they don't.
I think the pressure was higher. Yeah. Like not just like mental pressure, but like actual like defensive pressure was a lot higher. And I think too, like not having the 3-second violation is amazing. Like I love not seeing the 3-second violation in the paint and being able to kind of just sit there. It makes it just a lot tougher to like, and you can play zone better. You're not forced to just like leave the space just because. So I noticed that too. Like the USA just seemed to play sloppier, and it just seems like they're just getting more pressure, whether it just be these guys elevating themselves because it's like, oh, okay, we're playing against Team USA, or whether it's just stylistically.
Yeah, and I was gonna say like that was probably I think the thing, my takeaway from this tournament, obviously them winning the whole thing, is like they were, like you said, I felt like they were actually tested, and it felt like there was a sense of urgency. Like this is the biggest complaint that I have about the NBA All-Star Week when they have all these All-Stars play together. These guys are just out there. They're just like out there so they don't get fined. Nobody's getting hurt. Nobody's playing defense. But when you get actually guys together to actually play for something, and they're not playing for money. You're playing for pride. You're playing for legacy. Like this is LeBron's legacy. You don't want to be on the team that let LeBron down. Towards the end of his career. I know LeBron's gonna play hard. These guys towards the end. Steph's gonna play hard. It feels like this one was kind of almost a changing of guard. I mean, this is still like the old era meeting the new era. You have Halliburton, you have Ant-Man, you have Bam. That's kind of the new guys, and then you have the old guys. You have you have Embiid, you have LeBron,
Durant.
You have Durant, you have Steph. These guys are like on their way down. Not to say that they're not great NBA players. Like there's less years on the back end than compared to the front end. So I know those guys were gonna play hard. I know the old men were gonna play hard. But it was actually like
how many other old guys? I'm thinking.
I mean, besides LeBron's going to be the oldest.
LeBron, Steph, KD.
Embiid is kind of like in the middle. He's not the oldest one. He's kind of
Holiday.
In the middle. Drew Holiday. He's an older player. Up there. Derek White was the younger one. The actual competition, I thought they, like you said, the competition, the world is getting better at basketball. I thought Serbia, played them pretty well. They were a scary team to play against. Historically, Puerto Rico is one that embarrassed us in the Olympics, so you got to get revenge on that team. You can't let them slide. And I feel like the semifinal, the lead up to the finals, I thought that was more the second game against Serbia. I thought was more.
That was nerve-wracking.
Yeah, that was the closest game because they were actually coming from
down
behind.
Yeah.
I feel like they're
down by 16, right?
Yeah.
I think 15. Somehow.
Yeah, and the third I feel like that was when they were actually tested. Like that, you had to overcome adversity in that game. And like I said, they played them well in the first game, but that second game, it was nail biting time. It was a lot of nervous people, a lot of nervous people on Twitter watching.
Another thing too that I picked up on, and I'm curious if you did. It felt like a lot of these guys that are otherwise stars on their own team, a lot of them started to turn into role players, and it actually worked. And that was the one thing leading into this Olympics I was worried about, because I think you need guys like a Drew Holiday. I think you need guys who are willing to be a role player,
even though they're not star players.
Even though they might not be the best players, but you need those guys that are willing to like sit back and let others do what they do. And I feel like for the most part, a lot of those players stepped up and did that. Like Anthony Davis is one that comes out to me a lot. Like, in LA and in the NBA in general, they want Anthony Davis to not just be a defensive monster, but they want him to put up points too. But now you put Anthony Davis in a situation where he's like, I don't need to do that. And I think Anthony Davis is best when he is solely focused on protecting the rim and getting blocks and defending, because he put on a defensive masterclass.
Yeah.
Like he looked so good defensively. It was some of the best Anthony Davis play I've seen him do. And I felt like it's because he was able to be a role player and just be that guy.
Yeah, do his specialty. Like he doesn't have to carry the whole game. He just have to do what he does really well. Just that's all you have to do. Just do your job,
And it's like, even though Team USA, I don't want to say they turned into like a more FIBA style team, but I do think they did a good job, and Steve Kerr, of like kind of adapting. Like there were still those moments of like that one-on-one. That's something that's only kind of done in the NBA, like driving to the hole and doing the one-on-one. But there was moments where like you saw some ball movement from a lot of these guys that otherwise probably would just hold on to it and take it in. And like it was pretty cool to see how Steve Kerr and Eric Spoelstra and Tyronn Lue were able to like, all right, we got to understand, we got to kind of adjust. We got a lot of stars here. We have to understand like playing together as a team is more important than anything, because we want to get a gold here, especially with all the outside pressure. I mean, for the past, with losing the FIBA World Cup to the Noah Lyles thing, and then just the rise of like foreign MVPs and foreign stars coming into the NBA, pretty much taking over. There's just a lot of like, a lot of noise, and like it's not going to end too, because all that's going to happen is just going to keep on getting better. And honestly, you want that. Like, realistically, do you really want the USA just to dominate every gold? I think it's good to see high quality, like international play. I think it's better for the game. Honestly, I think to get better and different perspectives of how you see the game is good.
I would say what I want to see in the Olympics, like I said, and this is what we miss out on during the NBA, is I want to see us send the best. Don't send the guys because, obviously it's the Olympics, it's time off. This is in the middle of the vacation time, right? We're in the middle of summer after, NBA trades and stuff, after the draft. So generally, the best players, if you're a veteran best player, you're on vacation. You're with your family. You're not thinking about the Olympics. You're resting, you're training, you're doing other things that you want to do that you can't do during the regular season. So that one thing I missed out on was us actually sending the best players, which is why, there's a lot of hype over the Redeem Team, right? The Dream Team was literally some of the best players in the world, and they were playing hard. The Redeem Team, because we suck so bad, had to come in, some of the best players of their time.
People, you know what I remembered? I completely forgot about. I remember when people were calling him LeBron's.
Yeah.
Skip
Bayless. Skip Bayless. Where you at now? You ain't got no job. That's what you.
I forgot about that. I was like, holy shit, LeBron.
Of course. I mean, that's so special. It's just you change one word. But that's what I actually miss. Like us sending our best and them actually playing like they give a damn, like with a sense of urgency. Like everything's on the line. Our legacy is on the line. That's what I miss, and I think that's what kind of surprised me. If like when I actually started seeing them play, like like obviously they're heavy favorites, and I was like, okay, they're heavy favorites. They're supposed to win. They should win. But when they actually play and actually had adversity, I was actually fucking invested in these actual games. I was like, yes, like these are the best players in the world. And like you said, sometimes the competition, you were talking about Anthony Davis earlier. Sometimes he played extremely well. Sometimes he will get cut off on a switch where he'll be playing on the outside, and you could see him. Somebody would dribble around him, and there'll be mismatches. It'll be like Booker was on Batum, which is like a foot taller than Booker. So sometimes there was these flaws where they would get exposed.
I saw Tatum on Rudy Gobert or Wembanyama a lot in that final.
And I was like, ooh, feed it to Wembanyama all day, because that is a mismatch that you can earn. But like you said, they were able to play cohesive, and like you talked about earlier, having like a Drew Holiday, somebody that doesn't have to take over a whole damn game, because anybody can take over a game. KD can take over a game. LeBron obviously take over a game.
I even thought Tatum did a good job playing a role player too. He wasn't asked to be like this.
Bam is an excellent player. Bam only scored.
Yeah, Bam's a role player. He's another one. I wouldn't call him a superstar, but he's a guy in the paint that can be good defensively and be a role player.
So you have guys that can take over and guys need to roll, and they actually play cohesive. And like I said, when they played with a sense of urgency, I was invested in them. It wasn't just like, oh, laissez-faire, like, whatever, we win, we get a bronze, who cares? Like, they actually played like I said, all I can say is play with urgency. I don't know how else to say it. And I enjoyed that. Like, I enjoyed it. Kind of brought back like, damn, why can't they just do this on NBA All-Star Weekend? So yeah.
Another thing too that plays a factor that I think people aren't talking about. They're 1-game knockoffs. It fucking mattered.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it mattered. It wasn't some 7-game series. I'm sorry. Like, I understand why they do it from a business perspective. Like, more games, more playoff games, more money, more attendance stuff. But man, 1-game knockouts are just where it's at. That's what makes March Madness so great. That's what makes the NFL playoffs so great. That's what makes the Olympics great. It's just like, we lose in the semifinals. That's it.
Yeah. You step your foot out, Simone Biles, you getting points deducted. That is it.
It matters. And I think too, it also like prevents like maybe resting a little bit more than you should. While I'm not for like playing through injuries, but there's a little bit more of just like an urgency to like have to play. It's like, oh, we're up 2 games in the series. He could rest here. Versus like, no, man, this is like fucking the quarterfinals. Like, we need to win. And then you go to the semifinals and the final. Like, I liked that a lot. Now, I do kind of want to talk about the final or just some other teams too in general. Looks like Spain is kind of having a down generation. Yeah. They were like one of the main competitors for the USA for a long time, especially like for in the early 2000s and 2010s and stuff. But now it seems like France has really come to rise, and with their French league really blossoming, producing a lot of players. I mean, we were talking about it in the last podcast with the NBA draft, how many players are coming out of the French league or just coming out of France, and then playing in Europe. It's it looks like France is starting to enter this Renaissance era of talent, and they put on a display in that final. And honestly, what I think killed France in that final was not playing clean ball. I thought I forgot what their percentage was from the 3-point line, but at one point they were like 7 for like 26 from the 3-point line. And then they missed 8 free throws. 8 free throws. And I'm like, if you're going to beat the USA, you got to play clean. Yeah. Like, you have to. If you're going to beat the USA, you're going to play clean, because you know what's going to happen. If you don't close that gap close enough or get enough space for you saw what happened to Serbia and you saw what happened in this final. You're going to have somebody with that individual talent and in this case, it was Steph Curry, who just was fucking draining him. It was like Game 7 and like an NBA Finals. Like, it's just
classic.
When he hit, what is it, 4 threes in like
a row.
A minute? Yeah. Like, God, it was like, when I saw that, like, not to say I was rooting for France or anything. I was just watching it just as a neutral, and like, I'm rooting for USA, but I'm not like super like that. I really just want to see a good game at the end of the day. when you see that, you just like, you can see it like on the French fans or like the French bench's face when he hit like that third one, for example.
You're like, oh no, it's
like,
over. Oh
like,
no, here he comes.
Like I felt their pain. Like, I was like, ooh, like I was like, because I wasn't like, you know, it's just like you like you see somebody down the street and they fall. It was like, ooh, it's like, see, and it's like that's what happens, and you have to play clean. You cannot go 7 for fucking I don't know what it was. 26 at the 3-point line and then miss 8 free throws.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I felt like every time France went to the line, they're missing at least one, especially in that second half. And it's like, you got to play clean because they played really well. And I don't know if you saw on Twitter, I thought this was hilarious when whatever his name fucking posterized LeBron.
Oh, the guy by the name, his name is Gershon Yabusele.
Yeah.
Gershon.
Yeah. And like all the big accounts are like posting LeBron getting posterized, and then everybody in the comments, all the LeBron meat writers are just like, delete this.
Yeah, delete this.
And then like I was even seeing some people are like, they're like, ain't nobody, you don't know what a posterized means. Or whatever. I was like, I don't know, man. When I saw that live, I was like, that was dirty. Like that was dirty. Like let's not front. Look,
those
LeBron
are moments,
put his
man.
hands up.
Memeable
He didn't
moments.
put his hands up, but like still, like he took
the charge. Yeah, he got posted.
Yeah, and I was even seeing ones in the photos where people erased LeBron. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? LeBron wasn't even there.
Yeah, somebody like Photoshop him.
Yeah, they literally photoshopped like LeBron out of the photo. like, bro, what are you talking about? It's just so funny seeing like these LeBron meat writers.
I love that, man.
It reminds me of like the like all the Ronaldo and like Messi fan accounts where they just like, my king, my how humble, like what are the best. It's like, what's wrong with people?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was dope, man. If we're gonna, start shutting out the other team, I thought, like you said, France. Besides the shooting, obviously the balls didn't fall in. I thought they did good ball. They had great ball movement. I thought they were good cleaning up, secondary chances, rebounds, able to put up other shots. I think, and that way it was competitive and it was close. But like you said, like we had killers. Anybody could take over at any point in time. KD could take over, and this last game it happened to be Chef this last game, and like you said, it's not that a legendary team, an epic team, they can make mistakes because they have legendary players that can make up for it. They can if they mess up on the front end, they can always make up for
great
the back
moments.
End. But if you're just kind of above average, barely middling, you have to play, like you said, you have to play clean. You have to play efficient. For a chance to even, a maybe that you maybe might win, you have to play clean, and they weren't able to. So, I mean, that just, like I said, it just, I'm glad that these guys actually showed up. So, shout out to France. Also, I want to give a shout out to South Sudan. I don't know if you know the story behind South Sudan. It's pretty dope. I think what they're doing down there, they're actually if they wanted to be a surprise, I've heard of South Sudan, I think, over the world competition, for the past few years, but this year I think they really showed out. Like, I was very impressed with what they were able to do with the resources that they have. I don't know if Luau Dang is essentially running the whole damn program. These guys in South Sudan, it's not like they have indoor facilities or anything. Luau Dang is supporting it with his own money, with whatever he's earned in his NBA career. He's supporting the whole team, and he's pretty much the director and the coach. Well, not the coach. I think Riley is the other coach. I don't know if I said his name right. I'll look it up. But I think it's dope, man. They actually came out and competitive. They have former NBA players also, or like G League guys, who actually they came out the mud with South Sudan. Like they don't have, like I said, they don't have indoor courts
resources.
They don't have the resources that like USA has, and they were still able to compete. And I shout out to them, because I still think they made their country proud. And don't confuse South Sudan is different from Sudan. It's a different whole country. It's its own separate thing. So don't confuse them both. But shout out to Luau Dang and that whole operation, because I would be proud to be a South Sudanese.
Yeah, and that's the one thing too. Like when you see a lot of these more developing countries get like these gold medals and stuff, it's like you don't realize, like, man, like here in the United States, we get all these golds, and the same thing in just like other Western countries and China and stuff. But like the infrastructure to for these athletes are just unprecedented a lot of times. You know, like they have top flight competition, but then you see like, you know, people like you said, like in South Sudan or you know, throw any country out there, like to be able to do what they're doing it's really impressive to compete against these other like first world countries where they have every resource in the world and funding and all this other stuff. So it's pretty impressive. I do want to just real quick back on France. I do want to say shout out to fucking Wembanyama. That guy's
he's coming, bro. He's like, coming
to do what he did to play that year. Well. Not in his first year, not just his first year, but then also in this tournament in a fucking gold medal match against one of the best teams, like truly the best team in the world, the true world champions, I will say. And he played well. He played extremely well. The one thing I thought was funny was like he's definitely used to FIBA rules because that whole like where you can push the ball in. You don't have to wait for it to fall. And, like, that was one thing, you know, like Team USA, because they all play in NBA.
Yeah, they were calling it. I remember seeing Drew Holiday pointing.
And they weren't used to it at all. Yeah. They weren't used to it at all. But, man, Wembanyama was on top of that shit. He's like, okay, we're back to how where I used to play.
I'm in my home crowd. I'm in front of my home crowd.
And I'm not going to lie. I don't know how you feel about it. I actually like that, to be honest with you. Like, I like being able to just have somebody just push that shit in. Like, if you can. Like, I personally like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes it tough if you have. I mean, we have a replay. We have the ability to look for it. So, but yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, that's how they play in Europe. So,
but that's what I thought was pretty cool. I noticed a lot of the players like, oh, but then they like realized like, oh shit, like you can't do that. Yeah. I mean, you can do that. Just because he was fucking doing that left and right.
I wouldn't be, you know, he was, you know, obviously he was very emotional. I saw him crying a little bit out there, and I was like, man, this guy, he's the next generation. Like for him to do that in his first year, his first Olympics, to come out there and perform, like, you know, I know it's very upsetting to lose, especially when you think, you know, you're close or you have the ability to. But that guy's gonna have plenty of opportunities as long as he stays healthy. Man, that's just his first goal. He's coming, dude. He's coming.
Dude, you know what I would have. Could you imagine if like that France team had prime Tony Parker? That would have been sick to watch. Yeah. That would have been really cool to watch. Like, see, because when Tony Parker, when he was playing for France wasn't that good back then. Like it was kind of like it was a competitive team. Like it was a team that was in the tournament,
but out of favor.
It wasn't like they weren't made. But yeah, they weren't like a Spain or like a fucking who else was big back then? I'm drawing a blank. But either way. Argentina was pretty solid too, and then you had Australia and Brazil. South America's kind of fall off a little bit. Argentina's not nearly as good as they used to be. But yeah, okay. Well, any other final thoughts for the Olympics before
for the men's?
Just anything. No. Anything Olympics.
Women's soccer, like I said, dope. I love Mallory Swanson. I think Trinity Rodman is my favorite player. I wanted to be Sophie Smith. I think Trinity Rodman is my favorite player right now. Sophie Smith might be like number 3 behind Swanson. I think there's dope. I love the future of women's soccer. That's why I'm wearing, you know, the women's. You know, I'm wearing the jersey right now.
It's a new generation.
So I'm women's soccer. I will support. I will watch women's soccer before I watch men's soccer. Y'all don't do a damn thing. I don't know how much they're paying you. Y'all got the grass turf. Okay.
You have to support men's soccer. You have to support soccer, bro.
No.
You can't not.
Y'all win something.
How do you
first.
Expect it to get better?
Win something first, and then call me. Okay. You're not getting my viewer.
You have to support it for it to be better.
So yeah, we'll see. Like I said, as we're recording this right now, closing ceremonies are going on. Maybe next week we'll talk about what went on if there's anything special. But I think just to end it, USA has a total of 126 medals. China with 91, Great Britain with 65. I think we're tied 40-40 with China as far as goals.
Ah, dude, that's
and then
so many
Japan
medals.
with 20. Japan with 20 is the next closest.
Like, think about how many medals. Like, that's just so many. How many events have gold medals? It's like I almost like I've been thinking about it. I'm like, man, is there like some one-off fucking event I could do, and maybe I could call myself an Olympian? Like, there's Can I train?
Breaking.
Can I train for fucking like the power walking 100 yards? Yeah. Like, is there something like that? Like something just complete like random. I do want to put one final Olympic note. I do think it was really cool. So right before this Olympics, the Olympic Committee officially announced that they're going to be adding an esports Olympics, which as somebody who's a gamer like myself, I'm actually really excited. I think that's really cool that they're going to have their own separate event. And I think that's the best way to do it, is to actually give them their own separate Olympics. So I'm really excited. I don't know when it's supposed to start or when it's supposed to like kick off, because you're not just creating an event. Like you're putting together an entire Olympic thing. So it's going to be treated like separately, just like the Winter Olympics or the Paralympics or the Special Olympics or whatever. So yeah, really excited to see that. Oh, and this is a good transition, but flag football is now going to be in LA. And apparently they want NFL players to play.
Yeah, I've seen some. I've seen like Andrew Hawk, who used to play for the Browns. He's talking about,
this is what I mean, man.
Tying them up again.
We're just getting easy golds. We're
Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill. I hope your ACL is feeling good in 2028 in a couple of years, in 4 more years, because we could use you in flag football.
The problem is, I just don't think, even flag football, I just feel like these players are just not even going to do it. I think that it's just, one is just too physical, and these players are too worried about getting hurt. They're too anxiety ridden, because it's almost like it's not a matter of when. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So I think they might do it. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. Maybe, listen, if it's just some retired player or some guy who's out of the league, you know what I mean?
Tom Brady is quarterback?
No, Tom Brady's quarterback. Hey, you never know, man. You never know.
Let him sling it.
I don't know. See, I want to find out the rules to see if they have to play both ways, or can they sub in guys, or do they have to play both ways, offense and defense?
I saw somebody in the comments for like one of the posts or whatever were like, damn, why's it got to be flag? I wish it was tackle. I would have loved to see TJ Watt absolutely rip the head off of a Japanese dude.
No way. They're making fun of the old picture of like Diana Taurasi or somebody standing next, playing basketball against Japan, and you're like, she's just holding the ball above her head. And it's like not even close, because I mean, physically, it's not even a challenge. All right. Yeah. I think that'll end it. Like I said, we'll maybe talk about it next week, if anything. I hear LA, they're already planning to have like, they're going to have like everything's going to be accessible by public transportation, apparently. So, and then everybody in California,
they have to, dude.
Everybody in California is laughing because they're like, what public transportation? It's like, there is none. So I think I already saw plans.
It's really weak. Yeah.
I think I saw the governor talk about how they're going to create new jobs and boost whatever, the trains and buses and fix the highways and shit. So we'll see. We have 4 more years of that. We'll see how LA is set up. But yeah, flag football.
Well, the thing too is they're also trying. A lot of cities are trying to do it too for the World Cup as well. So we'll see how that's going to look in 2026, because same thing with the Olympics. FIFA's the same way with World Cup, where it's like, when you go, you have to give them a plan of like, you're going to do this for transportation and stuff, because
security.
Because the thing is, like, with if the city can't properly host like a fucking event and like be able to transport a lot of people, we'll see. Supposedly they're supposed to expand that metro rail to Hard Rock before the World Cup, but I've yet to see
somebody pick up a shovel.
What, 2 years away, and you tell me they're going to extend that metro line to the Hard Rock? Yeah, we'll see. They probably said that, but I don't know. Same thing. That's why people were upset about fucking Dallas not getting the final, but New York did. But I mean, like, let's be real. New York is the only one with actual
public transportation,
proper transportation. But anyways, all right, let's switch to the NFL. Preseason has officially kicked off this weekend. Last night, there's a couple games playing. But I do want to talk about one of the biggest new things going into the NFL this season. It is the kickoff. So it is pretty much the same kickoff from the XFL that was tested out, and this is the first thing that's really coming into fruition with this new XFL, or now I guess UFL NFL partnership of like testing new things out, technologies and rules and stuff like that. And I'm glad to see it. It gives me hope for like the future that we're going to continue to see different things and other things evolve and stuff. But before I give you my thoughts, I'll let Gabe take the floor first. Have you seen the kickoff? How do you feel about the kickoff?
Yeah, so I remember us talking about it, because I remember one of the first stories that came out before this actual rule change was like, if you want to do an onside, you have to announce it to the referees first. That was like one of the first rules before we actually saw the formation of it, before they announced the XFL kind of kickoff. And I was like, that's kind of weird. Why? Like, one of the beautiful things about that rule was like it just being an element of surprise. Like, one of the greatest Super Bowl moments I could tell you about is the New Orleans Saints coming out of halftime losing, doing an onside kick out of halftime while they were down, and that completely turned over the entire of the game. And imagine the coach having to come out there, Sean Payton have to say, "Hey ref, we're gonna onside kick it right here." Like, I mean, that whole element of surprise. So I thought when they announced that rule, I was like, that was kind of weird. And then later, a couple weeks later, they announced this kind of new formation. I'm down for it. The NFL. This has been a ongoing conversation for the past, like, I feel like 10 years, at least 7 or 8 years. They're talking about player safety and how the kickoffs are one of the most dangerous things that they do in the NFL. So I'm okay with it as long as it's the players are okay with it. It's safer. I'm tired of watching now that I forgot. I think they changed the placement of where the kickoff starts. So a lot of balls you see go into the end zone, like they go past. So it's not even actually returned. Yeah. There's no excitement.
They're just touchbacks. Yeah,
they're just touchbacks. So if it means more action and it's going to be safer, I'm down for it. But like I said, I've yet to see the product. I have to see it for a couple weeks and see how it actually looks like. But if they're actually going to return it and apparently it's going to be safer, then I'm fine with it in general, just the idea of it. But like I said, I'll reserve my final opinion until I actually see it going on.
Yeah, so I saw it in the XFL. I keep on saying, well, I think it was in the XFL and now the UFL. And I liked it. I thought it was really interesting because, like you said, it's usually one of the most. It feels like it's a part of the commercial break because it's like we're out of commercial. Here's a kickoff. All right, now we're back in commercial.
In the end zone.
Like,
It's like here's like 10 seconds of a kickoff. It goes in the end zone. Here's a 30-second commercial.
Which the whole commercial thing is a whole other story because that shit's getting insane. How fucking bad they're getting with commercials. But anyways, I do think I like it a lot. Like I said, I'm for anything player safety. I think you want, and if you're a real football fan, I think you are too. You want your guys to be healthy.
Yeah.
You do. And I do think so you basically have like a zone for people who don't know. You have to kick it within the 10 and the 30, or is it the 1 yard line and the 30?
So they used to be separated by like 10 or 15 yards from where the ball was to where the defense was. But now it's actually, they're being pushed back into like the 20 yard zone. They're being pushed back way back there.
I know it's the 30. Okay. And then I can't remember if it's the 10 or the 1. I'm drawing a blank. But yeah, I think you basically have to kick it in this zone. If you don't kick it in the zone, it's a penalty, and they move forward a certain amount of yards. I can't remember exactly. And then the two teams, special teams, are lined up in a straight line facing each other. So imagine almost like wide receivers and a cornerback facing each other, but like all down the entire field, the width of the field. And yeah, I mean, I saw it in the what was it, the Hall of Fame game, and then I missed the preseason games last night, but so I didn't get a chance to watch those. But I'm kind of with you. Like I don't hate it. I don't mind the idea. I don't think it's a bad idea. I'm just curious to see what it looks like. I think it's going to be good. I mean, I think every signs are pointing to, if you're a returner, this is awesome. I think now you have more of a chance to really make a name for yourself as a returner because, look, now all you got to do is break a line. Like you break that line one time, almost like a running back. Like, you break that line and you're gone. Like you break the line on a blitz and then you just got your home free. And it's kind of that same way with this new rule. So I'm all for it. Like I said, it's safer because it slows down players. You're not hitting full speed, running 30 yards down the field and just blasting somebody. So yeah, I'm all for it. I'm excited to see more of it. And like I said, I want to see like the actual starters and like high level players do this because right now we're just kind of seeing like, fringe roster guys basically trying it out. So
I enjoy the kickoff, man. Bring back fucking kickoff receivers, man. Shout out to Devin Hester, who just went into the Hall of Fame, from the U. that was his specialty. As far as him as a receiver, he was very mediocre. I mean, he was very productive early on, but like he didn't put up monster numbers. But literally, that was his thing. Devin Hester is one of the greatest kickoff returners I've ever seen. You know, I don't know if you want to name off top three great kickoff returner. Dante Hall. That's another guy I remember kickoff. I want to see that guy run. I want to see the ball in his hands and him run. Deion Sanders. Who's the next Deion Sanders? Who's the next Devin Hester? Who's the next Dante Hall? I want to see I like that aspect of the game. I don't want to see them dumb it down and neuter it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and even for like like as a Jaguar fan, the guy we just had was Jamal Agnew. That guy was one of the best returners in the league. It was exciting to see him like get the ball and take off, and he took it to the house a couple times. And it's an impressive thing to watch. To see somebody run 90 yards through 11 people, it's just impressive. Like when you think about the feat of doing that. So I'm all for making it better and more entertaining in doing that. So I hope, like I said, I hope this is a sign for more to come of experimental things. I'm for like, you know, fucking hearing coaches give out plays and shit, or like the miking up the things, miking up the players, the coaches live. Like I'm all for all that. Like I'd rather see that than fucking, I don't know, another Papa John's ad. So
because listen, if the game wanted to actually make it safe, they just get rid of it completely, right? It'd just be like we just have punts on 4th downs or whatever. You know, if they want to make it safe, it's like, oh, so you score a touchdown, we just put it on a 20. There's no special teams. There's no need for even that transition. That's the most safest. It's just not even to do it. But you know, I like the aspect of like, hey, we're gonna give you the ball. You get to choose where you put it, but you have to run over and earn it. You know, not just kick it out the backfield. We're gonna give you the ball in this zone. Go put the ball where you want it, wherever you want to start at. Go earn that spot instead of them. You know, like I said, they can automatically. They can just change the rule and say we're just gonna put it on the 10-yard line and you have to go from there, or put it on the 20. You have to go from there.
And I don't get to having like actual special teams because I think it creates more jobs, more roster spots for guys because like very few people are purely just special teams players. Like a lot of these guys are trying to be a starting linebacker. They're trying to get in that linebacker position. They're trying to be in the wide receiver rotation. So like their way of staying on the team is like, all right, he's good at special teams. And having that opportunity is like, all right, well now I'm good at special teams. So this keeps me on the team to be able to continue to, you know, improve myself. So like, yeah, I'm not for just getting rid of it. But even though, technically it would be the safest, but I would imagine there would be a lot of pushback from NFLPA and all that stuff if they're to do that. Because, you know, like you said, a lot of these guys, like what is Devin Hester's career without his returning capability? He was an all right offensive player. He wasn't bad. He was solid. He was good.
He did. Like, listen, he was fucking running touchdowns in college.
When he was doing that shit in college. Devin Hester, you think of kickoffs. Like this is what
automatic.
You think of.
He's the GOAT. It's him and Taysom Hill.
Gadget players. Oh man. But as for the final topic, I think we're saving the predictions for next week because they're running out on time. But I do want to talk about just preseason in general. Is there anything you as a Dolphins fan are looking forward to when it comes to this preseason?
Yeah, man. See, I'm as far as preseason, you know, if we want to talk about Dolphins transactions, obviously, you know, there was a little bit of turmoil because there was guys that we had to go, like Christian Wilkinson. He actually went to Las Vegas. So it seemed like the Dolphins were setting up for like they're going to sign big players, and obviously it was announced a couple weeks ago that Tua resigned. He has. I forget, it was like 50 million, 53 million a year for the next whatever years. I don't know, kind of matching up with...
How much did he get up front? Did he get a lot up front?
I think it was more guaranteed. I think that was the point of contention. Let me look up. I want to look it up because I don't want to get it wrong.
If he got a massive sign... I'm just curious if he got like a massive signing bonus or something.
So 4 year, 212 million. Which was about where he was at, right? Because I think that's what I was kind of expecting, between 50 and 55 million, which I think he landed like 53. But you know, they wanted I believe the Dolphins wanted more structured to be production based. They wanted more production based, and he wanted more guaranteed money, obviously. So I think he ended up getting the contract that he wanted. So you know, there was a lot of you know.
Here's the exact breakdown. So, so 167 million guaranteed. he will earn a base salary. In 2024, he'll earn a base salary of $1.1 million with a signing bonus of $42 million. Yeah. That's so he's only taking a $9 million cap hit on the salary cap.
Yeah.
Fucking wild. It's crazy. So, and that's the new move. It makes sense. Like, you're going to put these salary cap things. Look, the owners that can afford it, they're going to front load the shit out of that on the signing bonus because the signing bonus doesn't count. So it's like, okay, cool. Doesn't matter. And I'm sure Tua, he's like, I don't give a shit. That means I get all my money up front. He's like, all right, cool. I get 42 mil up here. And then who gives a shit if I make $1 million throughout the season? My paychecks are going to be smaller throughout the season, but I got this fat ass $42 million check already in like fucking March. So, and for example, like Trevor Lawrence is kind of the same way, where he had a ton. I mean, more than Tua's. He got a bunch up front, and I think he's only going to take like a $15 million or $20 million cap hit every year, which is like, and the salary cap obviously is going to keep on rising year over year. So. It seems like more and more people are starting to figure that out and really starting to do that because it's starting to make the salary cap a little obsolete.
Yeah. So going back to the Dolphins, like like I said, they let a lot of players go, and so it was like, okay, what are they actually trying to do with their money? Well, they signed Tua. They guaranteed Waddle to a long contract. They restructured Tyreek Hill, so it's like they're in win mode now. Like, Tua fits in this system. There's a lot of controversy about whether Tua is worth the money. Is it good now? But whatever, he signed. So
I got Calais Campbell.
Yeah, Calais Campbell coming home, also from the U. He's coming home for a quick jaunt. So yeah, I feel like they're kind of in win now mode, and which they should be, because now with the vacuum that Tom Brady created since he left, the other teams seem to be getting better. I know the Bills have restructured; they got talent over there, and now we're gonna finally hopefully see a full year of Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. So it's like these other teams are improving. What are you guys doing to improve? And I think they're going to run it back, and they're kind of in win now mode, which is I'm fine with. There's a lot of controversy of like, oh, Tua's not worth it. Well, I'm like, well, what's the secondary option? That's my thing. It's like, oh, that guy's not worth it. And it's like, okay, so what is your backup plan? Like, you're going to put up Mike White out there? Like, Mike White was great in the preseason, but do you think he's going to lead you to the future? He's the future of the Dolphins, Mike White.
And the thing too is, like, now that this whole like I was just saying with this whole signing bonus thing now becoming like a trend, who gives a shit if he's not worth it? It's not your fucking money, and he's not taking. Yeah. And now he's not even taking space on the salary cap. It's one thing if he was taking a $50 million salary cap hit, and now your team can't fucking sign nobody. Like, that's okay. I understand the criticism. I would be pissed too, because it's like, all right, you're having like a guy who he's not bad, but he's not great. He's kind of like he's pretty good, and he's taking up like $50 million a year in our salary cap. But like, he's not. He's got a $42 million signing bonus. Is only going to be a $9 million salary cap hit. Jalen Ramsey's taking more of a salary cap hit than he is. So I believe. So it's like that argument's like, who gives a shit anymore? Because now it's like, do you care what this billionaire owner spends? That's like fucking nothing to him. Like, when you really think about it, like he's going to make more money with Tua in the long run.
I'm not going to
prove that he's good enough to compete. He may not be elite, but he's good enough to compete and play well. Can they get in a deep playoff run? Hopefully that changes this year for you guys, like, because it seems to be the only thing missing. You guys get in, but you're not going on deep enough runs. So like. And you need a guy who's already familiar. He's good. I think Tua is good enough to potentially win a Super Bowl. I'm not saying, like I said, I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback, but like with the team that's around him, with the team that Dolphins team is, like defensively and offensively, it's a really solid team, like top to bottom. You don't need a world beater. You don't need Patrick Mahomes to. I mean. And
that's another thing. And that's another thing.
Flacco win a Super Bowl.
That's part of my conversation. You're like, okay, Tua's not worth it. Okay, so you throw Mike White out there. Is Mike White better than Aaron Rodgers? Is Mike White better than fucking the guy in Buffalo? Is Mike White better than Patrick Mahomes? Because those are all guys you got to face through in the playoffs.
In Buffalo.
And if your answer, Josh Allen, that's what I meant to say. I was going to say Josh Rosen, but I forgot.
Throwback.
So yeah, it's like, okay, you want to throw Mike White out there? You want to throw Skylar Thompson? Is Skylar Thompson better than Aaron Rodgers? Right now the best option, unless you sign, Aaron Rodgers type, like right now, Tua is the best guy you got. Unless you're gonna go into the draft or make some trades, like. What is your other options? I think you stick with him. You want to call him a system quarterback? That's fine. This team is built for speed. Obviously, they're quick. I think Mostert's going to come back. He should have a great year. And I think we're getting the best. We're getting the best years of Tyreek Hill because I think it's going to be more of a. It's only downhill from here. It's win now. Win now. This is your window of opportunity. It's only a 4-year deal. So if you're not happy with it in 4 years, I guess you can trade him. You can trade. Honestly, you can trade him like two or three. Yeah. You can trade him away.
And my thing too is like I'm with like, who cares if somebody's a system quarterback? Like the same thing with the whole Brock Purdy thing. It's like, bro, like who gives a shit? Like if they're winning games, they're playing well. It doesn't matter. It like you don't need to be elite. Joe Burrow, I think, is a top 3, top 2 quarterback in the league, but he's getting beat up every fucking day. Yeah. I'd rather have him be a system quarterback in a team that's really good, that's really well structured, that's spending money consistently and can protect them and fucking win games. Like, look at Alex Smith. I was pretty harsh on Tua at first, and at the end of the day, I don't want to say I'm wrong, but I was pretty spot on. I was like, I don't think Tua's going to be elite. I never thought he was, but I thought his ceiling was he was going to be pretty good. Just like, and I always said like Alex Smith down the stretch of his career in Kansas City, he was a fucking good quarterback. He wasn't elite, but he was good. And that's how I always felt about Tua. And it's like, all right, so you say a guy's fucking trash and he plays on a trash team, but he's good. Is whatever, but then like you play in a good team and you play well, then it's like, oh, you're just a system quarterback. It's like, what the fuck? So is Patrick Mahomes a system quarterback? He's got fucking Andy Reid, one of the best coaches to ever exist. That is like Tom Brady had Bill Belichick, probably the best coach to ever exist. Does that make them system quarterbacks? Like, no, it's just like, I don't know. I never liked the system quarterback. Like, who cares about the stack rankings of the quarterback? I think we've factuated so because they're getting paid so much and they get all the starlight. We put so much effort onto like, all right, who's the best? Are they top 5? Are they top and at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. It's a
me. I care about my team. Yeah, I care about my team. I just want my Dolphins to be competitive and go deep. So like, I don't need him to be top 5. I just need him to be good enough. I need him to be better than average.
Exactly.
Because if he's better than, because if he's just an average quarterback, that means I can throw anybody. I can throw Mike White. I can throw Skylar Thompson. I can throw anybody. I can throw whatever the third quarterback is from the Atlanta Hawks. If he's just average. But he's like I said, I never expected him to be the top 5 to blow every record, blow Dan Marino's record. But I thought he was good enough. I thought he was above average and he was good enough for what we were able to draft.
I think it could be Dan Marino's record just for the simple fact of the way the NFL is nowadays.
I mean, he broke the record last year. I mean, he broke the season record. We'll see.
Yeah.
He held the season.
You think he beat the franchise record?
It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot of. We'll see how we'll see how the defense is. If the defense is rocking and rolling, that means the offense has the ball more. Then more opportunities. But we'll see. Like I said, I'm a roll out the ball guy. Let's roll it out for the preseason. I say what I say every year. I pray for health. Everybody to just make it not hurt into week 1. Long season. The NFL's trying to put 18, 19 games in the future. Just make it healthy. Make it to the first week. Please, nobody hurt. Please, we have a long season.
Looking at any roster battles, like any like French guys. I don't know if you keep up that deep. Is there any like guys you're rooting for to make the team or make certain rosters?
I do want to see Jonnu Smith. I think that was a guy that potentially we had the potential to draft him, and I think he went literally above. He might have went before. So he was like a strong, big guy, fast, big tight end. I was like, oh, maybe this guy we can put in a wide receiver and tight end for both. So now that he actually came to us, he's been in the league for 3-4 years now. I do want to see what he's able to do. But the other guys, I kind of watched last year. I know what Waddle can do. I know kind of their ceiling. I know Tyreek Hill is going to be explosive.
But I mean, like the fringe guys, like guys that maybe like some like new draftees or like guys you're like, all right, I want to see what he does. Maybe be at that third wide receiver spot, like somebody fighting. I don't know if you have any.
I want to see the secondary. The secondary. I want to see the secondary
rotation.
Yeah, I want to see how the cornerbacks do because I felt like that was one of the biggest holes that we needed to fill. Obviously, the front line with we had major injury with Armstrong. He was just constantly hurt. Obviously a veteran guy, older guy. He's really good when he plays. He's excellent, but he got hurt so much that he was it felt like he was barely on the field sometimes in the season. So I just want to see the defense, specifically the corners. Like I said, that I felt like that was our weakest spot. But I don't know. It's just preseason. Like I said, I'm not gonna overhype what I'm saying. I'm not gonna exaggerate or over. Like, oh my God, we're gonna lose 20 games this year. Oh my God, we're gonna win 20 games. We're winning the Super Bowl. I'm just gonna be in the middle, just calm, just in the middle. I just want to see the guys, see the rotation.
Seeing who shows out.
Yeah. And then I'll get hype. I'll get hype when we play. We play the Jets opening season. I'll turn it up for them. But right now, I'm just gonna be calm. I'm gonna be like flow like water, just smooth, just easy. Is there anything that you're looking forward to in the preseason with your team or any kind of matchups?
I'll say for me, the big thing is the wide receiver position. Like they played last night and I missed it, so I'm gonna watch some of the highlights tonight. But I'm really curious to see the wide receiver battle. Not just the battle and like to get into that room, but then also the top of it, like, it's kind of we got Gabe Davis coming in. We got Brian Thompson Jr. from LSU, who was a big recruit and a draftee or first round draft pick. So I'm really curious to see how this meshes up with this new system with the wide receivers, because Calvin Ridley's gone, Zay Jones is gone. So it looks like Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram are still there. So I expect what I expect from them, but I'm really curious to see the guys out wide, Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabe Davis. Who's going to, because they both kind of seem like number twos for the time being. Obviously, Brian Thomas Jr. is still just a rookie, so you never know. Justin Jefferson was drafted around the same time as him, and he's the best receiver in the league. So, and then maybe Gabe Davis shows out a little bit now that has more of a significant role than he did when he was in Buffalo. So that's pretty much me. I'm curious to see that wide receiver room. I want to see who steps up. I'm also a little interested in the line, because the line, we had a lot of rotation and moving pieces because of injuries, and it resulted in Lawrence getting hurt throughout the season and getting banged up a lot and not really being able to sit back and throw the ball because he was just getting rushed constantly. So and this team looks like they're built to throw the ball deep now. So I want to see how the line holds up potentially in the scheme that we actually want to run with Doug Peterson and Press Taylor. So that's my big, and then like any guys in the wide receiver room, like Parker Washington, anybody who steps up and can, because you're gonna need that depth. There were some guys I liked last year that kind of made some appearances when Kirk was gone and stuff. So you're gonna need a little bit of consistency in the wide receiver to, actually make the playoffs this year. Last year was a complete disappointment, getting knocked out in the final game of the week after having a massive, really good run the first half of the season and just falling apart and letting Houston get the best of us, which going into last season, who would have had Houston making the playoffs and winning the division? Because Houston, we'll get into it in our predictions next week, but I still don't think Houston's that great. I still think they're a little overhyped right now because of what they did last year. Wow. And that's I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. I think they're a good team. I don't think they're good as us, but nonetheless, we'll see how it goes. So I think that's really the most important thing, is getting guys open for Trevor and protecting him, because the defense I feel pretty good about. I think we added some really good pieces. I think players are going to get better. Adding oh my God, why am I drawing a blank on who we added from San Francisco? I'm drawing a complete blank.
Hold on.
The defensive tackle from San Francisco. I keep on wanting to say Armstead, but it's not Armstead.
Well, look it up because they played already.
I'm on Spot Track. Let me. Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, Armstead is out. Arik Armstead, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. 3-year, $43 million. So I think he's going to be a huge help in that interior and really help Josh Allen and just be able to get more pressure, because last year our fucking first overall pick last year, just he didn't have a bad season. I don't think he was terrible, but he didn't perform to the level I think a lot of people expected. So we'll see. I think adding more pressure is always good, so that's kind of where I'm at with the preseason. So I'm excited to see some football, I will say. So it's a shame I missed it yesterday, but it's all good. I'll watch it today. And keep up with it, because we're back into it. But anyways, I think we call that show a wrap. I do want to tease next week. I think next week we're going to do a pretty big NFL leading up into the season. I got some pretty cool topic ideas, Gabe. So
all right,
get your pen and paper out, start thinking about what you want to say and some things. So yeah, man. So stay tuned for that, guys.
Right, we appreciate you. Thank you all for checking us out. Real Fans Podcast. Don't forget to check out Real Fans FC, which is our brother podcast. It happens on the weekends. You can talk more soccer, more football. So we appreciate all the downloads. Thank you all for checking us out. I'll leave you with this question. What the fuck is a kilometer?